Beers Legends, Sammy from Short and Stout Beer Reviews. We've got two collab beers this morning, Mountain Culture and Dangerous Ales. So yeah, they're both out of New South Wales in Australia. Mountain Culture in the Blue Mountains. They've got two facilities there. And Dangerous Ales are south of Sydney somewhere, I think on the coast. But yeah, one of them's called Sea Change. It's a New Zealand hazy at 7%. I love the can artwork on them. They're both very similar. Pretty cool. And then the other one is a mixed berry sour at 7.5%. And that's called Escape to the Country. So yeah, Mountain Culture have obviously been around for a while now. Dangerous Ales are still relatively new. They're probably getting a little bit more popular now, just in the last probably year, I reckon. One of those breweries, yeah, some of their beers are hits, some are misses. Mountain Culture are always pretty solid. So yeah, let's see how they go. I've got a heap of Mountain Culture just because I was waiting on a package that I'd ordered about 2 weeks ago, and yeah, it got held up before all the public holidays, and then I had to wait a bit longer. So I've got my elegant little Mountain Culture glass. A little New Zealand hazy and a fruit sour would go well in that. So yeah, I just thought both beers together in a review would work well. So I've got heaps of Mountain Culture to get through. So yeah, happy Anzac Day too to the Australian and the New Zealand folk out there. Respect to all the fallen soldiers. I was going to go to the city today. I was going to go to Banks Brewery and maybe Boat Rocker, but Banks are having trouble with their canning line at the moment. And yeah, all the beers that are meant to be released the last 2 weeks have been put on hold. So I thought it's a long way to go to, yeah, not know whether the beers are going to be ready or not. So I've decided to hold off. I might go to Melbourne on the weekend perhaps and check out Fox Friday just because they're under the pump a bit at the moment. I want to try some more beers of theirs. Yeah, so let's get into it. I'll start off with the hazy, I think. Finish with the sour. Hopefully everyone had a good Easter. And if you've gone back to work since, hopefully it's not too stressful. Thankfully, I've had the week off. It's been very relaxing. Yeah, this beer looks really nice. The colour's a little bit off in my camera, but it always is with this style. So yeah, this one it says Cryo Motueka, Koia Nelson, and Maui Nelson. So yeah, there's a few different blends of Nelson there with the use of the hop keef. So yeah, it looks very like fluffy, soft and fluffy. It's got about a 4-finger head. Yeah, like white. Color of the beer, I would say it's more orange in reality to what it is on the camera. It's more of like a probably medium orange, fairly vibrant. I would describe the appearance as just hazy. It looks pretty full on with the haze. So body probably medium. Here comes the dancer. Yeah, body medium, carbonation fairly light. Let's get into it. Let's go a whiff. And yeah, Melbourne Football Club, we're back, baby. We lost the first 5 games now. We've won the last 2. and we should have another win next week because we're playing one of the weaker teams. I honestly feel like we've changed the style of our gameplay to suit the fast running halfbacks. And a lot of those players were missing the first few weeks. So the teams just looked like, I don't know, like they don't know what they're doing. Like we've got all these superstars, but they're not performing to how they normally would. It's like everyone's a bit confused. And then the last 2 weeks, it's looked pretty good. So hopefully it's sort of clicked now and we stay injury free and we might start playing good footy. So yeah, this has got like a real sort of sweet, juicy character. Like I would say orange, lemon, and lime. Maybe some grapefruit. Definitely more sweet than anything. There's maybe some mango there. Possibly, yeah, some like white peach, something like that. Little touch of stone fruit. Could even be, yeah, some berry. It's a little bit grassy. It's got that typical sort of, you can tell it's New Zealand hops. One thing I'll be so annoyed about is like the fact that I've stayed home and haven't gone to Melbourne. And then I see an Instagram post by Banks and all the beers are there. I'll be so pissed off. Yeah, smells good. I'm getting into it. Boys and girls, cheers. So the mouth, the on the palate, you actually get some dryness and some bitterness, and the sweetness sort of like fades away instantly, which is pretty cool. It's quite different in the aroma and the taste. I'm getting like a touch of apricot as well. You're sort of getting less of tropical that you got on the nose and more of sort of bitterness and pith and some like more stone fruit as well. You can tell it's a collab. Sometimes with like particular collabs, you just know that the pretty much the brewery where it was brewed, it just tastes like another beer of theirs. But this one tastes different than your average mountain culture. You always wonder sometimes maybe they change it up with the yeast or do yeah, sort of like a combination of two or it's so quiet in my neighbourhood. I swear that it's like everyone's gone away for holidays. Like it's 9 o'clock in the morning and you just can't hear anyone like and there's no cars on the road. It's like real eerie. So yeah, the two names of the beers, it's sort of an Australian thing that if you live in the city and you sort of go through a period in your life when you want a bit of a change, you move to like a coastal, like regional town. So they call it a sea change. I just like the fact that yeah, it reminds me of like Tasmania. It's probably like they've probably made it look New Zealand like just because it's a New Zealand hazy. But yeah, it's just got that feel like you've moved from, I don't know, you've moved from like Auckland to like in the country somewhere and wanting a change in your life, more relaxed lifestyle. And yeah, I like the fact that this one's sort of like in the morning and then the other one's like at night, like sunset. But the same sort of same terminology. Escape to the country. It's like, yeah, you're from Melbourne and you move to Warrnambool. Certainly a lot. Well, it's not a lot cheaper, but it's yeah, certainly a lot cheaper if you're in somewhere like Brisbane and you move to like the Queensland like rural areas. Victoria probably not so much. But yeah, this beer is pretty tasty. So yeah, as it's sort of warmed a bit and the air's got to it, I'm getting like a real floral touch. Like it was brewed. I think these were brewed about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it smells like it's super fresh. Like it's almost got that wet hop sort of smell to it, where you'll get like sort of really green, really floral, like almost vegetal. But yeah, the body, I still stand by what I sort of said just on appearance. It's like medium and like, yeah, soft and pillowy. It's not as sort of full bodied and smooth as what your average MC beer is. So that's sort of one of the differences that you can tell that it's a collab. But yeah, there's just something in the flavour that's a little bit different. As far as dangerous ales goes, I've probably only had maybe half a dozen of their standalone beers. Um, and yeah, a few of them are when they first started out, so sort of hard to do a comparison. So yeah, one thing that's pretty cool in Australia for Anzac Day, like today is obviously a public holiday, like a yeah, paying respect to the Australian New Zealand Army Corps. That's what it stands for. All the soldiers, whether they're fallen or still going. So yeah, today we last night we have a huge football match, Melbourne and Richmond, and they put on this big spectacle before it, and it's really cool. They do it really well. And then today's always been the main game, Essendon and Collingwood. There's always like 100,000 people at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. So yeah, a lot of people will sort of pay their respects to the soldiers in the morning and then sort of just chill out for the rest of the day and then watch the footy in the afternoon. Thing that I've always found hard is I hate Collingwood so much I don't want to watch them. Worst thing too is they're going well this year, so it's scary. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, if banks end up doing these beers today, I could possibly go down on the weekend. It's just such a long way to go. So if you go down on a weekday, you've got more option with trains. I just wish I knew someone that was driving that way and I could just get a lift. Like I'd be happy to pay them money to get there. Because yeah, if you drive there, it only takes probably 2.5 hours. But if you go public transport, it's like 4 hours away. So you can imagine how hard it is getting down there and back in a day. You pretty much spend 2/3 of the day traveling. Pardon me. I'll go a bit of a top up. She's pretty quiet out there today. I thought there'd be a few around at this time. It's pretty odd though. Like there's been a lot of streams lately. I've gone live at like a time where you wouldn't think anyone's around, and all of a sudden there'd be people everywhere, and then you go at a time like this and there's no one. So I'll read what it says on the back. We are back brewing with our best mates from the New South Wales South Coast Dangerous Ales. This time we've invited Damo and the crew up to the mountains for a little getaway and to brew two polar opposite yet equally epic beers. This hazy IPA is brewed as an ode to our favourite New Zealand hops that regularly feature in both of our biggest hazy IPAs. To create an IPA worthy of such a collaboration, we've gone and rolled out the red carpet using Cryo Motueka, Koia Nelson, and Maui Nelson, Hopkeef. The result, a massive flavour profile full of passion fruit, pineapple, guava, with big hit of lemon and lime. So there you go. I'm not really getting those tropical fruits. Guava, yeah, maybe, but I wasn't getting passion fruit and pineapple, and I normally get them in a lot of beers. Lemon and lime, yes, that was the two main ones I got. But yeah, cool. That sounds pretty awesome. It's one thing mountain culture are good with is that they're real accommodating to people. Quite often they'll have like breweries come and hang out with them, and they'll take them out to the Blue Mountains, like hiking or abseiling or mountain biking. Like they're real adventure guys, and they love sort of showing off where they're based because it's like probably one of the most beautiful areas in the country. There was even a time they were hanging out with someone and they got struck by lightning when they were down in one of the sort of cliff, like cave areas. It's pretty insane. Because I remember they'd named, like, one of the beers was sort of around that time. And yeah, one of the guys they hang out with that rock climbs, he like represented Australia in the Olympics. When they first put the rock climbing in the Olympics, they only had one person from each country, and he was the one that was, yeah, selected. So he's pretty good. Cheers, Disco. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, happy Anzac Day. Do you guys have an equivalent in England? Like, I know we all sort of have Remembrance Day, but I wondered if you have like a separate one. Cool. Yeah, I remember when I had beetroot in the stout, you could barely taste it. It just had this sort of, it was almost like a slight sweetness and tartness that sort of leveled out the roast, but you couldn't really pinpoint it as like beetroot flavour. But obviously, when I had it in the sour, it was like real prominent because it was beetroot and I think it might have been beetroot and cucumber or something like that. But yeah, very interesting. This one's got like a real nice sort of soft, pillowy body. And yeah, on the palate, it was really sweet. But yeah, it's just sort of, I mean, as soon as I tasted it, the sweetness wasn't as intense. And then the more the air's got to it and it's warmed, I'm getting sort of more of a like a floral, almost vegetal quality, and even like some pine. I love New Zealand hops; it's so good. I've got a pair of VB slippers on. They're real comfy. I went to take the bins out before and nearly almost tripping over them because they're sort of like a real good size, but they're real bulky, and I'm just not used to wearing them, and I was like nearly tripping over. The joys of being on holiday. Just put some slippers on. Who needs socks and shoes? So yeah, because I have decided not to go to the city and I'm staying home, I'll probably end up doing like a bit of a live. I think a hangout. Yeah, yeah. It's sort of the same thing with us with Gallipoli. Yeah, the Poms and the Aussies and the Kiwis and a few others, they got set up big time there. It's just brutal, like some of the stories and like the movies that have been made about it. Cheers, redneck. Good to see you. Yeah, that's what I do all the time, dude. Sometimes I'll be at work and I'll just pull out the phone, have a quick look on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, they're live. I'll go say g'day. It's just a good way to fill in some time. And then, like, it might be a day where the person's like having quite a few drinks, and every time you go back there, they're still going. It's always funny. Lest we forget, definitely do. Yeah, normally I go to one of the services, but I was meant to go to Melbourne today, and yeah, I don't know, just a few things sort of stopped me from going. Where I was going to go is a very long way away, and they've had some trouble with their canning machine, and they've got these particular beers that I really want to try. That's why I want to go there, but I didn't want to go like hours and hours away in one day and then realise that they're not there. Cheers, Josh. Good to see you, brother. If you're up for a beer at some stage, we'll have to share one. I was thinking about doing a hangout after I do the review. Cool. Yep. Hazy. Um, One of the breweries too, dude, that I was trying to think of the other night that they're pushing here in Australia at the moment is Aurora. Have you ever heard of them? I was going to message you yesterday when I found out who it was. See if I can find the. Yeah, I don't know what it's meant to be like. So the ones, yeah, you've got 50-50. I'm pretty sure I've had them before. Um, Aurora, RAR, which we've already had. Yeah, they're trying to push Anchorage as well. But yeah, I feel like it's not as awesome this year, the USA Pint of Origin, unless it's just mixed. They're going to have a heap of mixed stuff. So there's one called Pint of Origin USA Massive American Beer Showcase. So that could have like heaps of stuff in it. Last year there was one that had like tired hands and a heap of that stuff. Cheers, Susie. Good to see you again, mate. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes this year. Because, yeah, the USA stuff the last couple of years has been really good. The Canadian one, it was at an awesome venue, but not as much selection. And then the UK one was pretty decent. It had like heaps of like Cloudwater and Rivington. Like it had some Daya, some Verdant. Yeah. Nah. So they were a brewery, dude, before the pandemic. They come to one of our main beer festivals, and it was the actual lead guy that runs it. I was hanging with him. I went over because I was like, I don't think I'd ever had any Lagunitas, or if I did, I'd only had like one maybe. And like they had a stand there and had like fucking 8 different beers, and it was real good. And I went over and yeah, I had a chat with him and got a photo with him with all the beers and stuff. He gave me like a heap of tasters and said that they were planning to them and Sierra Nevada were going to set up like warehouses and web shops in Australia and yeah, try and make a thing of it where they go into bars and stuff. And yeah, I think the pandemic just fucked it all. I've never seen a Lagunitas beer here since. It's a bit of a shame because I really want to try that stout of theirs. The one who's always bang on about. Is it a barrel aged one that's real cheap? Yeah, Willetise, that's it. I did a bit of an order of some beers last night. Garage Project had a real piney beer, so I got that. And then there was something else by them. Um, yeah, I got a couple of one drop fruit sours because they're actually pretty good. I got it was like a mountain culture white chocolate oat cream IPA or something. I'm like, fuck, that sounds weird because they did a chocolate stout for Easter, and then they must have done like a white chocolate oat cream or milkshake IPA, sort of as a bit of a gimmicky side thing. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I was going to go to Banks today, but they've been having problem with their canning machine and all these latest releases that they've wanted bring out. They've sort of had to put them on hold. I think because there's been so many public holidays, it's probably been harder for them to get it fixed because yeah, like those sort of companies, they're probably like on holidays at this time of the year. So yeah, I was going to go there. They were meant to be all good today, and I was like, oh, I'm keen to go, but then on Instagram they normally say the day before when they've got all these new releases coming out. And because they didn't say anything, I'm like, nah, I don't reckon they're ready. I don't want to take the risk. because it's like a fucking 3.5 hour trip to get there. So I'm like, it's a long way to go. And if I get there and then all they've got is beers I've already had on tap, I'd be pretty disappointed. So I'm just sort of going to keep an eye on their Instagram today, and hopefully, if they do have them in cans, and I can just buy them anyway. I'll be so pissed off if they're only at the brewery. But yeah, this is what I'm drinking currently. A New Zealand hazy, mountain culture and dangerous ales. Sea change. And then, yeah, because they did two beers together, these two, I thought I'll just review them both together. The other one's a fruit sour, sort of like a kettle sour type. A Berliner Weiss. Yeah, it's blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry. So yeah, some of these beers I had the other night when I did that stream. But yeah, I just didn't sort of go into detail with them because I knew I'd be reviewing most of it. Yeah, I just can't. It's one too that I've been asking about, and I just can't get it. It's amazing though. Like, there's all this stuff that I can get, like post pandemic stuff. But then there's breweries that are more common that since the pandemic I haven't been able to get at all, and I could get prior. And the thing that's weird too is Firestone Walker keep doing work with Aussie breweries. It's like, well, where are their beers? Why don't we see them here anymore? Like, they've done collabs with. Recently, they've done one with Mountain Culture. Um, who was the other one? Oh, they did Garage Project as well. They did another Aussie brewery though. Might have been Rocky Ridge or Range. My football club, Josh, is, you know how they started off 0-5. They've won the last two games, so at least I got something to be slightly proud of. I reckon when the first couple of games, they've changed their game style, and they've changed it to suit their speedy sort of halfbacks to come like rushing through and kick straight down the line, sort of thing. And those players were missing in the first couple of weeks. So it's like this new game plan just didn't suit the players that we had on the ground at the time. And now some of them have come back from injury, and it's like the team looks completely different. So yeah, it's amazing how much game structures and yeah, like just the team lineup makes like such a massive difference. So yeah, hopefully we go all right now because we're meant to have a good season. I'm like, why the fuck have we lost the first 5 games? So I'll move on to the sour shortly. Let's do it. Cheers, Levi. Good to see you, brother. How's sunny Texas? If you're still there, Disco, this beer looks like it's beetroot. It's the exact same colour, dude. Like that burgundy sort of. So yeah, this is a mixed berry sour. Blueberry, I think it was blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry. Yeah. 7.5%. It smells unreal. Smells like a good sort of mix of like sweet and tart. And yeah, you're getting sort of all, it's not like one berry stands out more than the others. That'd be a good breakfast juice. The three berries. That's one thing that's fucking expensive now. You know how you like, well, in Australia, it's like there's a lot of price gouging going on in the supermarkets because there's two key players and they just fuck over everyone. Ever since the pandemic, the supermarkets are making these massive profits. And I reckon they're just fucking over people and putting stuff dearer than it needs to be. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's way more expensive than what it was. But yeah, one thing I've noticed massively is juice. Just the basic home brand juice about 2 years ago was like $2 for a bottle. Now you're paying like fucking $6. It's what the fuck is going on? It's like tripled in price. Cheese is another one that I've noticed. A block of cheese that you would have paid like $5 for a few years ago is now like 12, $13. Must be tough when you got a family trying to feed them all the time. I could just smell this all day. This would be nice as like a sort of like an incense smell or like a candle, like berry, just this sweet berry aroma. The old weed eater. Cool. It looks very good. It certainly does. And I'd say like a just like a biscuity sort of backbone. When it's so prominent with like strong berry flavour, you're not really getting much else. But yeah, the berries smell like really fresh. I always wonder with berries, like when they do them like this, like what's the ratio? Do you have to, if you want sort of strength in particular flavors, do you have to go a lot more of one berry as opposed to another? Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, boys and girls. It's tasty. It's definitely got that feel, just like a good, solid, like fruity Berliner Weiss. Sometimes the big American fruit sours, they can just be too much, whereas this is like a lighter body, like a bit more sessionable. Be like I could just imagine, like, if you were sitting in a beer garden with your lady, they could easily smash a few of these. Sort of goes down like a nice cider. Beer and bird time. Cool. You're getting the camera out. I think Craig's been getting back into it lately, going for his walks and taking photos and stuff again. Cheers, Paul. Good to see you, brother. How's life in the Great North? What what beers have you been drinking lately? I had a collaboration recently with Superflux out of British Columbia. That was pretty good. We've got our we have an event in Melbourne called Pint of Origin coming up in, it's about probably 2 or 3 weeks from now, and they always have a Canadian event, and normally I'll try some good Canuck beers, pretty tasty. It's cool because you'll get a lot of Canadian breweries doing collabs with Aussie breweries. Yeah, last year they had the Canadian event used to always be at Mr. West, which is a real fancy bar in Footscray. And the two guys that run that, they've got a heap of contacts with Canadian breweries because they did a lot of travel back and forth. And they even did some like collabs with them and were able to bring out a lot of their stock to sell in the store. But for some reason, they stopped doing the Canadian one and ended up doing UK, and it just hasn't been the same. The Canadian one last year was at a like a rock and roll bar, and you got all these like ladies sort of fitted out like they're, I don't know, sort of like groupies, but they had like Canadian flags or like some sort of Canadian sort of like, one of them was dressed up like a lumberjack. Yeah, you'd walk in there and they're serving like Canadian beers, and yeah, like it was pretty cool. It's the place is called Heartbreaker. Yeah, it was, they did it pretty well, but yeah, just the selection of beers wasn't as good as usual. Yeah, I was wondering what all that German was. Can't say I understand the last three words. He could have at least put Prost in there. I would have known what that was. Let us know, Disco. What does, it's probably pronounced Vilkeman? Vilkemansruk? Because what the fuck does that mean? Another thing that sort of swayed my decision with not going to the city today is it keeps raining. when you're walking fucking miles from a train station to a brewery and it's pissing down rain, it's fucking miserable. And another thing too is because Essendon and Collingwood are playing at the G, and there'll be about 100,000 people. I thought the train's going to be fucking busy as. I don't want to be standing for like 2.5 hours. Let's go a little refill, shall we? So, as I said, if there's a few people around a little later, I might do a hangout. Hangouts have been pretty fun recently. Pardon me. Yeah. Yeah, most beer festivals I've been to have been like if it rains, there's cover, so they've been okay. There was this one I went to in the Yarra Valley, north of Melbourne, and they just didn't have the setup for if it rained. And it absolutely fucking poured down like that real heavy rain, almost hail for the whole time. And like, yeah, it really affected the festival because they were counting on like people rocking up on the day and selling tickets because it was in like a touristy town. And yeah, like I felt so sorry for them. The whole time, all the punters there were in the tents with the brewers and that, just trying to get away from the rain. So you pretty much just found if there was a particular brewery you liked and you're just happy to drink their beers, you just fucking stay in that one little tiny tent with them. Yeah, it was really awkward. And yeah, I don't think they'd had the festival since. They probably like lost heaps of money. Like it would have been unreal if it was a nice sunny day, but SARS. I don't know what mine would be. Probably Talus. So I like Southern Cross. Southern Cross would work for my channel name too because of the Australian sort of relevance. So many Aussie dudes have Southern Cross tattoos. It's a good sort of lighter body, this, which makes it like more quaffable. Yeah, Sabro's another one I don't mind. Cheers, Stewie. Good to see you. A couple of my favourite hops would be Talus, Southern Cross, Nelson, Columbus. Sabro's probably up there. Disco's favourite's got to be Citra. What's a hop that you hate, Disco and Paul? Are there any hops out there that you can't stand? One I'm not a massive fan of is Idaho 7. Apologies to the great Mersey Beers because it's his favourite. But whenever I have it, I get pineapple, which is nice, but I also get this like dirty soil fucking black tea herbal thing. I just can't get rid of that note, whether it be on the nose or the taste. Yeah. I knew you hated Citra, but I thought there might be another one that stands out. Cool. Yeah, Carlton Brewery's just the one that does all the macro beers, but it's actually a pretty cool day out there. I did a beer tour there a few years ago. It was cool. You go around checking out everything, and then they give you like hops to smell, and you can taste them, and they give you a free couple of free samplers. I love doing brewery tours. I wonder what it was. Yeah. See, my knowledge of hops is really good, but most of it just comes from experience with trying new beers. Just because I'm passionate about beer, I sort of remember a lot of stuff. See, like probably, I feel like at least probably 70% of hops out there, I could sort of tell you like what sort of aromas and tastes you get from. And there'd be a few sort of older ones or newer ones that I might not be real familiar with, but yeah, yeah, that's nuts. I wonder if Great Northern's still the most popular beer in Australia. I remember that's what they said to me when I was there. I think Great Northern was number one. I think Carlton Draft was two, and I think VB was three. And then I reckon it was 4X. Yeah. What, just didn't like the sort of smell of it? Mosaic was so unreal when it first come on the scene. You just got this real, like, awesome, sweet blueberry note. It's almost like a bubble gum sort of thing. You do still get it occasionally, but it's a bit like Galaxy. It's sort of like, I don't know, died down a bit in flavour over the years. I honestly feel like Galaxy just got fucked over though because we had the bushfires and it wiped out the whole sort of plantations and they had to start again. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to go to the city today, Stewie, but the place I wanted to go to, I just felt like it wasn't going to be ready with the stuff that I wanted to try there. So I didn't want to take the risk because it's like way over on the other side of the city. So it was a good, going to take a good 3.5 hours to get there. Yeah. And that's one thing you'll find with Mosaic lately. It's very earthy. You're going to get, yeah, Eldorado, like citrusy. Hmm. These beers are probably like equally as good as each other. He might have went to Fox Friday or Fox Friday or Moondog or Mountain Goat. They're all in that area. If you went to Fox Friday, that's pretty cool. That's like one of my favourite breweries. They're having a bit of trouble at the moment now though. What, you wouldn't consider 5 million people a big city? I would. When it takes you an hour and a half to get from the centre to the outer suburbs, that is a fucking big city. It's way more spread out than you think. You're probably just thinking of the city centre, I think. Yeah. Nah, to get from one side of Melbourne to the other, it takes like 2 hours, even more, what, three? It's fucking massive. We're not like England where you can get from one side of the country to the other in about 4 hours. So yeah, for me to get to the city from where I live is 2 hours, but then just to get to the brewery on the other side of the city was another hour and a half. So yeah, put that into perspective. 7 hours of travel just to have beers for like a couple of hours. That's why I can't be fucked. That's what sucks about Australia. Everything's so fucking far away. Yeah, when I was growing up, Melbourne only ever had like sort of 1.5 to 2 million. And yeah, the fucking government just got greedy and let in too many immigrants, and now it's like fucking ridiculous. I think Melbourne's got nearly more people than Sydney now. I'm not going to drive when I'm drinking. Cheers, Drewy. Yeah, if I was to drive there, disco to be about 2.5. Obviously, it's a lot quicker driving, but yeah, obviously you can't have a beer then. Oi! What are you up to, Drewy? Another thing too, discos when you were last in Melbourne was way before it was as like fucking congested as it is now. Back when you were in Melbourne, it was actually a really good place. I still like the suburbs. I just think the city's a shithole now. It may as well be South Shanghai. Yeah, boy. It's pretty tasty, dude. Blackberry, blueberry, raspberry. Yeah, I'm just doing these two for a review and then be chilling afterwards. Yeah, around that time's when the city would have been sort of starting to take off with population. But yeah, definitely the last, like, probably the last 5 years is when it's just got way too hectic. The infrastructure just can't keep up. Yeah, and that's what it comes to as well. You might have a city that only has like 1 million people, but they got fuck all roads, so it's just as bad as being in like fucking LA or somewhere. It's amazing when you look at some of those built like those cities in China that they've built, but no one lives in them yet. And they got like highways that have got like 16 lanes, and it's like fucking hell. I think as a beer community, we should just rock up to one of those cities one day and just take over and have a big bender where we do like a bottle share for 2 weeks. We'll claim it as our own. No one's there, so fuck it. Just rock up there and you can claim your own apartment. Oh, there's a bit of a jab at Drewy. I like that berry sour. As I said, I'd probably have those two beers on a par. He's still there. I like it. I like how quick the response was. The gunshine state. So yeah, I'd probably rate them similar score. So yeah, obviously both the same breweries, Mountain Culture and Dangerous Ales, both from New South Wales, Australia. This was a New Zealand hazy at 7%, and this was a mixed berry sour at 7.5. They'd both be around that sort of probably around the 4.3 mark, I reckon. I think for like a Berliner Weiss kettle sour style, this is banging, and it's got yeah 3 berries in it that just work really well together. You got like the sweetness and the tartness, like it's well rounded. Yeah, it's like sessionable as well. You could have a few of them. And then yeah, as far as sort of a lighter hazy goes, this is like pretty good. So yeah, 4.3 for both, I'm gonna say. Quite often when I do multiple beers, I don't sort of give a score, but it's only two and they're completely different styles. So well done, Mountain Culture and Dangerous Ale. I'm always going to hype Mountain Culture up and say, you see any of their beers, get them. As far as Dangerous Ales go, I just don't know enough about their standalone stuff. I feel like they're still sort of growing and still honing their craft, trying to get a little better. But yeah, I might wrap it up there, boys and girls. And as I said, I could possibly be back with a hangout. we'll see if there's people out there that are keen, or I could go somewhere else. But yes, I had yesterday off. Just I was feeling a bit tired, a bit hungover. Just sort of wasn't in the mood for beers, so back into it today. Cheers, everyone, for chiming in, and we might see you again shortly.